I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, May the 22nd. Brought to you by Cargill Fescue EMT. Tall fescue, a dream to grow, but for cattle it can be a nightmare. Fescue EMT is a new mineral defense with end-of-fight management technology, research proven and backed by the expertise of Cargill Animal Nutrition. It's uniquely designed to help defend cattle against the challenges of grazing end-of-fight infected fescue while improving growth and overall performance. Make sure your cattle are prepared for the threat. Learn more at fescueemt.com. The market's just on its own now this week. We're not going to get any outside help from Japan opening their markets up to beef that's over 30 months of age. We saw some other news with tariffs being dropped by Trump there on Canada and Mexico on some of your metals. Seeing them come in and ease up on some of their tariffs on some products that affected our business with some prepared meats and things like that. We're not going to get any help from that, evidently. Of course, we're not going to get any help from the pork crisis over in China. So we're just on our own, just straight up supply and demand. But you look at the board on Tuesday, June live cattle futures down $0.50 at 110.85. August was down $0.25 at 108.27. May feeder cattle up 22 cents. They might have oversold that a little bit. We've seen some recent support back in our current spot months of feeder cattle. Up 22 for May at 134.37. August down 177, and all your other out fronts down pretty big, of course. But August now sitting at 143 even. If you want to look out at something that might give an opportunity to make some money, if you're in the mood to gamble, next spring looks pretty light on your feeder cattle contracts. You look at March 2020 sitting at 142.05. Surely we can do better than that, guys. Some of your bean counters think that we're due for one more big calf crop, maybe larger even than last time. I just don't see how you could, with all the sell-off we had through the rough winter and the flooding and everything, with a lot of cows being sold. I just don't see any way how we could have another bigger calf crop than what we've seen. But I think that could be a positive. You might want to stretch out there and buy you an option on something in spring of 2020 and just put it in your back pocket and forget about it. But look at your fats on Tuesday. We had just a little bit of trade, nothing really established yet, but had a few sales in Iowa, about 400 head at 185 dressed. Kansas had a few loads, less than that, at 115, which doesn't surprise anybody. That basis looks pretty good out there. And then heard a rumor that possibly way after hours on Tuesday we had some more cattle sell at 115 and at least one big long string at 114 late in the day on Tuesday. That doesn't surprise you to see some basis jumpers, because you know that could go away. You never know. And the basis jumpers pretty much stayed on the bench last week. Of course, they killed the market the week before, but sure wouldn't surprise me at all to see that take shape. But look at your box beef cutout values, down hard on Tuesday, and they've been down big. Look at your choice cutouts, 219.58 down 187 on Tuesday afternoon. Selects at 206.58 down 145. A year ago at this time, our cutouts were going straight up. Well, now we're looking at a choice select spread, $13 even. And you think, well, where's this Japan deal come in? Well, until they make some significant orders and we start filling them, it's not going to make a lot of difference, and it might make a lot more difference on things like variety meats and things like that don't have a big impact on our box beef cutouts. You know, if they jumped in there and really went after those middle meats stronger, but you know, they've been getting about all the middle meats they wanted, and they wanted the real high quality stuff. Well, they were getting that before on the under 30 month deal. Now they're going to start getting some more ground beef, some more variety meats, offal, things like that don't make a huge impact on our box beef cutout values. So you look at your feeder cattle markets. I do want to mention that this Thursday, I know this is a Wednesday report, but this Thursday, so you guys can make plans, at our friends, the Herzog family there at Mocan Livestock Market in Butler, Missouri, they're having a big spring classic feeder cattle auction special. They've got barbecue. They've got 4 world champion livestock auctioneers there. They're going to trade off selling. Tell you what, Jim Herzog is a plenty good auctioneer himself, but he's bringing that in to kind of raise the awareness and have a big special there. He's got some of these guys are my good friends. He's got Matt Lowry. He's got Charlie Cummins, he's got Brian Curlis, and he's got Ralph. He's got Ralph Wade coming. And if you guys want to hear them sell, and they've all got their own style and all very good world champions in their own right, they're going to be selling at Mocan Livestock Market on Thursday. He's got 3,500 head, which is a big sale in that part of the country. That's a big sale for Mocan. Got barbecue at 10 o'clock. The auction starts at 11. Don't miss that big spring classic special at Mocan Livestock, Butler, Missouri. Also, let's look at your feeder cattle markets. Your real-time index on Cattle Market Central late in the day on Tuesday sitting at 131.84, down 33 cents. Not out of bed by any means, but just kind of keeping pace with those big sales that we had on Monday, which were just kind of steady right in there. OKC West. You saw all the weather that they had in central Oklahoma Monday night, and so they were kind of flooded out. My friend John Cooper's house got flooded, and I feel for him and his family. Got young kids there, and they're going to be displaced for a little bit, but I tell you what, they were just too wet, too much water, too fast at OKC West to have their calf sale. Not getting a lot of calves right there this time of the year anyway, but they're going to sell those calves right along with their regular yearling feeder cattle sale on Wednesday, and so they'll have 5,000 or better for that. One place they did have a big sale was further up north and east at the Ozarks Regional Stockyards, West Plains, Missouri. I tell you what, Randy Hoover, he spreads far and wide and gets a lot of out-of-state cattle. A lot of cattle from Arkansas. There'd be a lot of times at Ozarks Regional, which you can nearly throw a rock down there anyway. Might get half the cattle from Arkansas, and some of those cattle are pretty darn good. But they get all varieties. I guarantee you West Plains is one place that I've sat many days and watched every grade and class of feeder cattle that there is go through there, not one or two at a time, but reamfuls of them. But they get it all. But this week they had one heck of a run. Talked to Dan Hill, my buddy market reporter there that I've worked with before, and he told me, he said he don't remember a better run of cattle at West Plains. Just had run after run for hours there in the middle part of the sale of all blacks, top quality kind of feeder cattle there with condition on them. Said the calves were $3 to $8 higher. Didn't have a real good test of the yearlings. They had a higher undertone, but not the greatest comparison there, and it was just really hard to call the market. But had one big, long consignment of cattle that came from 2 states away. Included in there was 5 loads. They had a lot of good strings of heifers in that deal. He said they were all good, solid black heifers with a good condition on them. Some of them you could call thin. 157 head of 539-pound black heifers bring 153.75. Another 94 head of little sisters weighed 434. Dan said they were pretty thin and still good. Bring 166 on heifers. But the big string on a different consignment there at West Plains was a big long string of uniform black weaned steer calves with shots. Average flesh on them, just a good honest way up. West Plains, Missouri, 188 head of 603-pound black steers bring 169. But the biggest quote that we had all day on Tuesday come from the Kalk brothers at Alma Livestock Auction, Alma, Nebraska. I had to call Terry and ask him if this was the right deal or not, because it was a little bit hard for me to accept, but he said sure enough, and of course they were him and his brother's cattle, and he was tickled to death. 65 head of 820-pound feeder steers in Alma, Nebraska bring 147 to a farmer feeder. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.